But speaking of MLB off seasons and free agent signings and trades and stuff like that with contracts, we have the winners and the losers of the MLB off season. Off season has finally come to an end. Um, a lot of big names that moved around this off season, and we can start with our winners of the MLB off season. I had three. One of them I know is going to be one of your guys in the Mets. So I'll let you guys talk about the Mets, but the other one of the other two for me was the Phillies.
Yep.
With the signings of Schwarber, Castellanos, they got a couple of Corey Knebel. I think that was a reliever that they got. So some of these other guys to bolster that line. I mean, the line, like you said earlier, they scare you. They really do.
It's so I'm like scared. Like
really
I mean
scared. that offense.
I would be too.
I know there's defensive and pitching concerns, but that offense is just so good. And I think that they were a big winner this offseason. And then the second one for me is a team that I'm higher on than a lot of other people, and that's the Mariners. I mean, it showed on opening day. Robbie Ray goes out there and just throws a gem. 7 innings. I don't think he gave up a run. I mean, and you add on to the trade of Suarez and Jesse Winker. I think that's a trade that isn't talked about enough either. I think that they went out and got an all-star outfielder. When you bring an all-star outfielder and the reigning Cy Young, you're a winner in the offseason.
And also with Eugenio Suarez, this man hit 50 home runs in 2019.
And Jesse Winker. I can finally root for Jesse Winker, which makes me happy.
He was a Met killer.
I'm so happy I can root for him.
Oh my God. But anyways, but I think especially with Eugenio Suarez, like it is such a low risk, high reward type of deal. Like you could not go wrong. You could not go wrong with getting Suarez as well. Because if he can do like if we can get like 80% of what he was in 2019, that is still a very good third baseman. That's one of the
15,
better third
20 home runs, 70 plus RBI.
Easily more than that, honestly.
I'm sorry to interrupt and to change the subject, but it must be said that Ossining alumni Obi Toppin just dropped 42 points in a Knicks victory.
Wow.
Yeah.
Obi had 42, quickly had 34. Sorry, must be said. We can continue.
No, yeah, that actually is big news. Who would have thought, out of all people, Obi Toppin would take over a game like that?
He's been playing really, really well. But
yeah, he has. Anyways, but yeah, I like the Mariners as one of those picks. But for me, obviously, the Mets was one of them, and then my other one was the Rangers. And look, when you sign Marcus Semien and Corey Seager, now you have the best middle infield in baseball, arguably. Like you had a great offseason. I know that they're not the top dogs in the AL West, but keep in mind at the beginning of the offseason, these guys were projected to stink. Like they were going to be a bottom feeder in the West, but they got significantly better. They put themselves in a position to maybe not win this year, but in a couple of seasons, they get a little bit more pitching outside of John Gray. They let their farm system develop because their prospects they're loaded. And then you have Semien and Seager locked up for the next 7 years. I think in a few years that the Rangers will be a very, very good team.
Especially in a division doesn't have a clear-cut favorite. Yeah,
especially in the AL West where it's relatively weak. Like the Angels are just always mediocre. The Mariners have gotten better, but look, they're still relatively unproven. And there's the Astros who are only getting older. Outside of Kyle Tucker, they're a lot of their guys from 2017 are old or gone. So yeah, I think the Rangers put themselves in a really good position this offseason.
Yeah, the Rangers are one of the teams I was thinking of, but I'll talk about two. I mean, obviously the Mets. I mean, we've said it a lot of times.
We don't need to
go over it. They're a clear consensus winner of the offseason. My other team was a team that played the Rangers in the Toronto Blue Jays, because I know this series against the Rangers was iffy at times. They'd blown leads. Didn't look amazing, but the potential is there. You see it with this team. They signed Kevin Gausman, who was really good last year. Matt Chapman trade was really, really under the radar, and he's going to be a great third
Hit a
baseman
home
for
run
them.
today.
Yes, exactly, on my fantasy team. But anyways, I mean, this team went from a fringe contender to a bona fide World Series contender. And I don't think there's really any debate that they're one of the best teams in the league. I mean, all of this young
top 3 minimum.
They have all of this young talent mixed with the signings that they made and the trades they made. They are gonna be very good.
They are. The only reason I didn't put the Blue Jays on there is because they lost Semien and Robbie Ray. So I think it kind of evened out with the signings that they brought in. And then, I think with the Rangers, I almost put them on there, but they're just, I mean, those are good signings, but they're still not ready to compete. So that's why I put the other teams ahead of them, because I feel like the other teams made moves that put them into playoff contention, definitely. So, but the Rangers, they definitely had a really good off season. We can move into some teams that didn't have great off seasons. I had 2 teams, but we can start with you guys. Who were some losers of the off season?
I had like 1.5. I didn't want to choose any.
One of them is.
I didn't want to choose. I didn't want to choose any like bad team, because like we know like the Orioles and the Pirates are not gonna win an off season, so they're the easy pick. So one of my picks was the Cardinals, which might seem a little bit contradictory coming up, but they didn't make any moves really. Like they didn't capitalize on their division being really bad. Like their biggest signing was probably Steven Matz, and he got shelled today. It's like they had a chance to cement themselves as the best team in this division by far, without question, and they just didn't. And my other team, which is why I said like 1.5, was the Yankees, because they didn't make these big time moves, but the first 2 games they've proven me wrong. I mean, they've fallen behind 2 games against the Red Sox, came back and won 2 games against the Red Sox. So I know it's a very small sample size, and they're doing it right now. But I can't really. I didn't want to cement them as losers, because they are 2-0 right now, trying to get 3-0, but they didn't get the big name guys that they wanted to get. I mean, Josh Donaldson's good. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is all right, but compared to like the names they were linked to in Correa and Story, I mean, I feel like it's a little underwhelming. They did re-sign Rizzo, which is very good. I just think it's a little underwhelming compared to the standards and the expectations they came into the offseason with.
Yeah, I think with the Yankees, I had them as a loser, but just because they didn't sign any big names. But this team is really good, and they're surprisingly their bullpen's been really good the last couple of days after some bad starts, and I think the Rizzo re-sign is huge for them. I think he's really good, especially in Yankee Stadium, and Donaldson's been good since they got him. I think they've got to figure out how to get a little less crowded in the infield. I know they want Kiner-Falefa to play shortstop, but I mean, tonight you got Glaber in the lineup and DJ LeMahieu's on the bench with Kiner-Falefa in the lineup, and in a big game against the Red Sox.
Weird.
I feel like you have to have DJ LeMahieu in there.
So
I think they just got to figure that out, but I think they will.
I also had the Yankees as a loser. It's not like they had like a bad offseason per se.
They just didn't capitalize.
But based on the expectations they had, which were to sign, well, basically for the past like 6 years, we've been hearing that they're going to sign a big name shortstop, and they just haven't done it. They got Donaldson and Kiner-Falefa, who are good. But Donaldson is getting up in age. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa doesn't provide anything with the bat. And sure, he's known for being a good defender, but some metrics say that he's really good. Others say he's really bad. So even that's a little iffy. Re-signing Anthony Rizzo was good, but I really didn't think they had to, because they had Luke Voit already.
I think Rizzo's much better than Luke Voit, though.
I think Rizzo's a better player, but I think that Luke Voit is not that much worse especially with the bat. I mean, he just barrels the ball up at a crazy rate. I think they should have just let Rizzo walk, use that money to try and sign Story or Correa, or even get some more pitching help. I wouldn't say their rotation's terrible by any means, but they definitely needed like that bona fide number 2 guy behind Garrett Cole. So yeah, I don't think they did they get worse? Maybe not, but the expectation was to get much better, and they just didn't. And so it's similar to my second loser, which is the Padres. I
almost put them. Yeah.
Who could have, like, they just got Sean Manaea, which is
That's
fine,
why I didn't put them.
which is fine, but they were another team that could have made a move, especially to get maybe a little better starting pitcher, and it, especially in a very competitive division where the Dodgers are clearly the first team, but then second spot's up for grabs. But even though they might be the second best team in that division already, they could have made moves to get in real contention for like that first or second wild card spot. And Sean Manaea just doesn't really do it for me. He's a contact pitcher, and I don't really like contact pitchers that pitch to like weak contact.
He just threw a gem though in his debut.
He did have a good game. He did have a really good
game. But I mean, it's the Diamondbacks.
I know it's against the Diamondbacks, but
yeah, exactly.
It's still a good pitching performance. You can't control who.
I don't think he gave up a hit. I mean,
I don't think he did either.
He was dominant. So,
but their
bullpen, but he was dominant.
I want to quickly mention their bullpen. I was gonna be after that first game where they blew up in the 9th inning. I don't remember if the Taylor Rogers trade was before that or after that, but either way, loved that pickup for them. I really think if they're going to succeed, they're going to need, especially with their offense missing Tatis, they're going to need their pitching starters and bullpen to step up. And I don't know. I feel like I didn't put them on there because of the pitching moves they made. And I consider getting Mike Clevenger back at some point, an offseason move, because he didn't pitch last year. I mean, you're adding someone from nothing. So
yeah, and Mike Clevenger,
and he's good.
He is a very good.
Yeah,
your rotation has a chance to be really good. So I really think if they want to stay in playoff contention, they're going to have to ride the heels of their elite pitching.
Yeah, and also with Manny Machado. With Machado, I think, which by the way, I think he's one of the more underrated players in the league. But I think Machado, he had a good year, but it wasn't that superstar year that we've been looking for. We're really going to need Machado to step up this year. But I still don't think that they did enough pitching wise. So that's why I had them as a loser, but not as clear as a loser as like the Yankees. So.
Yeah, for me, I had one other loser I'll just mention quick, and that was the Astros. They lost Carlos Correa, and their best signing was really just bringing in Nico Goodrum, who, isn't bad. He's a good utility guy, but trading Correa for Goodrum isn't a great trade. They lose that trade-off. I know they signed Verlander back, but I think he's going to have a really good year. But with the moves that the teams in their division made, I think that they lost leverage in that division.
They're no longer like an absolute favorite in the AL West anymore. It's kind of,
or in the AL itself.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think we'll see what the offseason moves bring to the standings this year. I think 4 teams in the AL East can win 90 games. A bunch of teams in the NL East can do really well. And some other divisions that are wide open.